Good morning, students. So we are going to today study our chapter number 11, reproduction in plants. So already we have completed few of the topics. Now some of the topics are left, so we will just complete it. Sexual reproduction in plants. So in sexual reproduction in plant, we have already studied what is the reproductive organ in the plant. So flower is the reproductive organ in the plant. Flower is a reproductive organ of a plant. Flowers are of two types, unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers, flowers that contain only female gamete, a female or male, it is called a unisexual flowers, whereas the flowers which contain both male and female parts are called the bisexual flowers. Okay. Now today we will study the parts of the flowers. So a flower contains generally four main parts. A flower generally contains four main parts: sepals, petals, stamen and pistil. Sepals, petal, stamen and pistil. Sepals. Sepals are usually green color leafy like structure present at the base of the flower, and it protects the inner and soft part of the flower, and it protects the soft and inner part of the flowers. Next, petals. Petals are usually brightly colored part of the flowers, and it is used to attract the insect, and it is used to attract the insect. It is used to attract the insect and animal to the flower. It is used to attract the insect and animals to the flower. Sepals and petals play a major role in reproduction. Sepals and petals play a major role in sexual reproduction. Stamen. Stamen are the male reproductive part of the plant. Stamens are the male reproductive part of the plant. It generally contain two main parts. It generally contains two main parts. Stamen contains generally two main parts. One is anther and another is filament. One is anther and another is filament. Anther is a tube-like structure. Anther is a tube-like structure present inside the petals of the flower, inside the petals of the flowers, and attached to it there is a slender shaped structure, which is called filament. The anther contains a yellowish powdery substance. Which is called pollen or pollen grains. These pollen grains are the male reproductive gametes of the cells of the plant. These pollen grains are the male cells or male gamete of the plant. Next, pistil. Pistil is the female reproductive part of a plant. Pistil is the female reproductive part of a plant. It is present at the center of the flower. It is made up of three parts. Stigma, style and ovary. It is made up of three parts: stigma, style and ovary. The sticky head is called stigma, whereas a thin style, and the swollen base is known as the ovary. So this topic already I have explained you very well in class 6th, but just you have to revise this topic, okay, as it is in this class also. So here we are going to just revise this topic. So the sticky head is called stigma, a thin is called style, and the swollen base is called the ovary, The ovary contains the female reproductive cell or female gametes. Which is called egg or ovum. Which are present inside the ovules. And these ovules are also present inside the ovary. So for a sexual reproduction to occur, the male reproductive cell from the anthers, that is the male reproductive cell, that is pollens, are needed to be transferred from the anther to the stigma of the flower, are needed to reach the ovules inside the ovary. So the process by which pollen grain reach the stigma of the pistil, The process by which the pollen grain reach the stigma of the pistil is known as pollination. The process by which pollen grain reach the stigma of the pistil is known as a pollination. Pollination is generally of two types. Pollination is generally of two types. Self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination and cross-pollination. When the pollinations or when the pollen grains are transferred from anther to the stigma of the same flower, then it is known as a self-pollination. When the pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower, then it is known as a self-pollination. Whereas when the pollen grain are transferred from the stamen of the one flower to the stigma of another flower of same kind means it must be of same, है ना? So when the pollen grains are transferred from the stamen of the one flower to the stigma of another flower of same kind, then such pollination is known as the cross pollination. And for pollination to occur, there are some of the factors which are responsible for the pollinations. There are certain factors which are responsible for the pollination to occur, and these factors are also called the agents of pollination. These factors are also called the agents of the pollination, and some of the agents of the pollination are wind, water and insect. Wind, water and insect. So in deep manner we will study just one by one them each. Wind. In a small flower, wind helps to blow pollen away from the anther of the flower to the stigma of another flower. Wind. In a small flower, wind helps to blow away pollen grain from the anther of the flower to the stigma of another flower. Wind pollination occurs in plants such as wheat, rice and maize. Wind pollination occurs in plants such as wheat, rice and maize. Water. And water pollination generally occurs in aquatic plant. Water pollination generally occurs in aquatic plant such as seagrass, water lily and lotus. In this, pollen grains are transferred to the stigma through the water. Next, insect. So some of the insect generally honeybee, butterfly. So these insects get attracted by the smell and the color of the flower. These insects get usually attracted by the color and the smell of the flower, and when they sit on the flower, the sticky pollen can stick to their body parts. The sticky pollen can stick to their body parts, and when they sit on another flower, the pollen grain are transferred to the stigma of another flowers. So flower of plants such as sweet potato, orchid and jasmine are pollinated by the insects. Next, fertilization. Once the pollen grain are transferred to the stigma of the flower, to the stigma of the flower, they absorb the nutrition from the stigma. And slowly the thin tube starts growing out of pollen grain, and slowly a thin tube-like structure starts growing from the pollen grain, which carries the male cells down style till it reaches the ovary. The ovary contains ovule. Which contains the female reproductive cell. And once the pollen grain reaches the ovary, the male and female cell fuse together and form a zygote. Once the pollen grain reaches the ovary, the male and female get fused together and zygote get formed. And this process is known as a fertilization. So what is a fertilization? Fertilization is a process in which male cell and female cells fuse together to form a zygote is known as a fertilization. So what is a fertilization once again? Fertilization is a process of fusion of male gamete and female gamete to form a zygote. Okay. Now after zygote is formed, what happens next? We will just see. So after the fertilization, several changes occurs in the plant. Several changes occurs in the plant, in the flower. Some of the changes are: the sepals, petal and stamen dry up and fall from the flower. The sepals, stamens and petals dry up and fall from the flower. The stigma and style also dry up. The stigma and style also dry up. The ovary swell up to form the fruit. The ovary swell up to form the fruit. That fruit may be either fleshy or dry. The wall of the ovary becomes the fruit wall. The wall of the ovary becomes the fruit wall, and the ovules become the seed. And the ovules become the seed. Inside each ovule, the zygote is formed as a result of fertilization. And under each ovule, the zygote is formed as a result of fertilization, which later on develops into embryo. And this embryo give rise to a future plant. This all things already I have explained you in class 6th. So just you can take the book of class 6th and revise it. So this embryo will give rise to the future plant. Finally, the future fruit ripens up and release the seed. And the fruit ripens up and release the seeds. Seeds falls on the ground, and under favorable condition, these seeds germinate into new plant. And under favorable condition, these germinate into new plants. So the process by which embryo in the seeds become active, and begins to grow into a new plant is called a germination. Now today we will see what about the seed dispersal. So see, when there is a tree and seed falls just below the tree, so it may be not possible that the seed may germinate. It is not possible to seed may germinate because it will not get enough water and sunlight. So plant growing in the same area have to compete with each other for nutrition, water and soil and sunlight. And thus all seeds will not be grow into new plant. And thus all seed will not grow into a new plant. And that is why seed need to be scattered from each other so they are able to survive. So seed need to be scattered from each other to survive. So the process by which seeds get scattered far away from the mother plant is called a seed dispersal. The process by which the seeds get scattered far away from the plant is known as the seed dispersal. And the factors which are responsible for the seed dispersal are known as the agents of dispersal. Some of the common factors for the seed dispersal are wind, water and animals. Just one by one we will see each of them. The fruit of some plants such as pea, poppy beans and balsam, they simply just get burst up, and when they mature they just get to burst up, and when they burst up, due to the force of bursting up, the seeds are scattered far away from the plant. Seed of some plants such as maple and dandelion are light in weight and possess hairs or twigs that help them to be carried away by the wind. So actually they are light in weight and they contain a hair-like structure due to which they are carried away by the wind. Seed of some plants such as coconut have a spongy outer cover. Which helps them to float and thus get carried by water across long distance, Seed of such plant such as cocklebur have hooks or spines in them that get caught in the fur of animals and get dispersed. Certain plants such as mango have fleshy fruits. They are eaten up by the animals and human beings, and they are scattered and by they are scattered and they get dispersed. Okay. So till now here we have completed bit of a chapter number 11, and exercises I will give it to you very soon, so need to worry for that. On Friday we will conduct a live classes. Till then I will try to anyhow finish most of your portion. Friday or Monday, no, not Friday, Monday I will conduct a live class, live doubt class for you, so you get prepared for that and clear all your doubts, whatever doubts you have, except portion or this timetable. Whatever the doubt you have, you complete it. I will give you all exercise also. I will give it to you very soon. So you need to worry for the exercises. Just you study hard for your exam and be prepared for the exams. Okay.